20-yard line.
It is Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, which means it is time for the Audible. Thank you for watching Sportsbook Review. I'm here with my guy, Donnie, RightSide, ready to break down each and every one of these games. And I told you last week, I needed a spark. I brought out the Warren Moon jersey. I said I will not take off this Warren Moon jersey until I have a losing week. And that did not happen. 5-3 last week, and I need to keep it rolling, Donnie. I'm pumped up. I see a lot of angles I like on this card. I'm ready to lock stuff in, but need to pitch it to my guy, Donnie RightSide, and these great cappers in the chat. Donnie RightSide, happy Tuesday afternoon. How you feeling? All right, I have some audio problems here, Donnie, so I have no idea what you just said. But I imagine it was how pumped you are to attack this card. Let me give a big shout out to all the cappers in chat. We got Chris Sanitate ready to go. TJ Parks, Tom Reno Tomer says waiting for a first half line to come out. Minnesota Giants. Vikings first half likely be a big bet for me. Cousins says nothing but beat bad teams. I actually, in all honesty, have some interest in the Giants plus 5.5, but I don't think I'm going to make it to the window with that bet. We have remarkable gaming and house long balls. Larry says was at a work conference last week. No time to watch the Audible drop. 13 units on Sunday. We'll never miss another one. Week 5. Let's go. I'm with you. Clint Richardson in the house. We got that guy Robert Weimer ready to go. Sean Mick in the house. Jay Scum. Nick O. What a great group. Steve Priest. Dom Ricci. Viper NB. What a great group. Donnie, I am ready to get to work. Let me see if I can hear you now, Donnie, one more time. How you doing, my guy?
I am clear. I am ready to go here. What I was actually trying to say through my mime presence right there is it's a free contest. There's free money out there. And for some reason, I can't cash in on this free money. I need my luck to change this week on these Pick 6 contests.
Yes, Pick 6 contest. I had a winning week 4-2 and hit my 2-unit play. So, but I'm coming from a terrible place. So I need to bounce back, continue to bounce back, and I will let Warren Moon lead me to that kind of glory. Let's throw up the record, Rafa, for honesty and transparency reasons, and to inspire us to find winners. Let me see that awful record that I have right now, Rafa. If you could put that up for us, thank you, my friend. Let's see how ugly it looks. It looks ugly, but not as ugly as it was. I think we are going to pick up. It's early. We're a quarter way through the season, and there's a lot that I like on this card, but the Thursday night does scare me. Let's get rolling right now. First off, we're going to do the Thursday nighter, Rams Seahawks. Rams open up at -1.5. Now the Seahawks are at -2, a 3.5-point move at Pinnacle. This total opened up at 49 and is now at 50. Seahawks home field advantage doesn't seem quite as strong so far in the early part of the year. The recency bias is the reason for the market move. Now, if I let go of Donnie's adage, home team or no team on Thursday night, I probably would take the Rams here. But I'm not going to do that. The Seahawks squad, remember, they could barely beat the Bengals. The Rams took the Bucs lightly and got burned. The Rams lost important pieces on their defense in the offseason. They're just not as deep as they were last year. But, Donnie, what happened to Aqib Talib and Marcus Peters last week? Godwin and Evans are very talented, but I expected a much better performance from the Rams cornerbacks. I don't expect this defense to get torched 2 weeks in a row. I'm interested in the under, and I would probably take the Rams if I wasn't afraid of the road team on a Thursday night. Donnie RightSide, Rams, Seahawks.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing every week. You know, you lean towards the under on Thursday Night Football. If you can't build a case for the home team, you just pass on it. And again, I don't like what I saw of there. So maybe if you're saying like, hey, what a great bounce back angle for the Rams. They got killed by an average at best Tampa Bay team. 55 points were hung on them. What's that going to take place now when Russell Wilson gets a hold of them? Now, Russell Wilson sleptwalk all the way through that game down versus the Arizona Cardinals. They didn't need much in that game. They're going to need to put up some points here, but it's tough to win in Seattle. It's tough to win on Thursday night. Todd Gurley's probably going to get like 3 carries in this football game to try to preserve his knees since he just played on Sunday, which I believe only got 5 carries on Sunday as it is. Home team or no team for me, and I think everybody's agreeing with me already, especially the books. Open up -1 Rams, -2 Rams. That's completely flipped. Chris Offshore and Pinnacle Offshore now showing -2s at SBRodds.com. Home team or no team, same as me every Thursday.
And does that mean it's a no team?
I got to dip in a little bit more because Seattle was great at every level for me. I watched the game last week, that 20-3 Seattle football team in the first half of the Arizona Cardinals team. That's the team I want, not the one in the second half that falls asleep and says, oh, but now we need to score late in the fourth quarter to put this football game away. I still don't trust Jared Goff. It's a tough environment to go on the road. And the one thing that we always talk about with the Rams that sometimes goes a little bit under the radar, Sean McVay calls the plays into the helmet of Jared Goff, basically right up until it cuts off at the line of scrimmage to make those audible calls. You can't hear in Seattle, and that's going to play a big picture. So I lean Seattle. I probably won't be playing this game on Thursday night. I need a little bit more time to digest some of this card. But again, if I'm betting out there, if I'm putting money on it myself, I just cross the Rams out, and I try to build a case for Seattle in this one.
If I gave you a free play on this total, opened up at 49, now at 50 at Pinnacle, what would you do?
To be honest, again, and this is sacrilegious. I'm preaching taking the unders on Thursday, but when I look at this football game, Seattle should be, if Tampa Bay went up and down the field with ease on the Rams, Seattle should be able to get into the 20s. And the same thing could be said about the Rams. There's a lot of weapons on this field that usually leads to points. We had to check the weather in Seattle if we had any rain concerns or anything like that. But if it's a dry night, both these teams should be able to score in this game.
I think Rams bounce back, and I was quite high on Seattle before the season started, and I become less and less, regardless of what they look like against the Cardinals. I am not going to take the Rams. I'm not going to take the Rams, but I'd like to, but I'm not going to. Dion Murray says, can't cap Seahawks, and they're my team. You never know what they're going to do. Alex Ramirez in the house. Akira04 says, Rams is a play. Tormino says, I think Rams were looking ahead last week. I expect the defense to bounce back. So do I. But I've got no move, and there are at least 6 moves that I want to make. I think I've actually narrowed down all my picks for the Pick 6 contest. And let's start with my first one on Sunday. Donnie, I was on the Steelers last night, and I want to be on the Steelers again, plus 3.5. Total opens up at 42. It's now up to 44 or 44.5 in Ravens at Steelers. I have interest in the under, but I like the Steelers at home. Ravens have come back to earth. Can Lamar Jackson pick up blitzes? I mean, it doesn't look like he can't. The Browns completely terrorized them. And then Earl Thomas pulls up, doesn't chase Nick Chubb. Earl Thomas gets in a fight on the sidelines with Brandon Williams. The Steelers' D looks legit. Mason Rudolph will protect the ball, let the defense win this game. The Steelers just beat the Bengals. They didn't just beat them. They annihilated them. Minkah Fitzpatrick helped so much. A ball hawk, free safety. This offensive line took a little while to get rolling. If Connor doesn't play because of the ankle injury, I don't care. Jalen Samuels will be fine. I like the Steelers here, and I'm interested in the under. Donnie RightSide, Ravens, Steelers.
I can't blame you with that look right now. The only thing that gets a little bit scary is you saw last night, and I have to give a lot of credit to the Steelers, game plan of what they got together, because I guess they were coming into the game saying, we're not going to throw it deep. Let's just see if we can lean on our defense. Cincinnati's a little bit banged up front and work to a charm, because Rudolph out there, you don't look at the statistics and say, oh my God, he was really high completion percentage. He didn't push the ball downfield, but then again, that's good for a young quarterback. If he's not pushing the ball downfield, if it's not there and just taking the underneath stuff, which I think me and you, Jimmy, could have run routes underneath 5 to 6 yards and would have been wide open against that Cincinnati defense. And also, what are we getting out of the Baltimore Ravens at this point? The offense looks fine. When you look at the offensive numbers for the Baltimore Ravens over the first 4 games, it looks good. Now, 2 of those teams absolutely stink in the Arizona Cardinals and obviously the Miami Dolphins. And then when they level up in competition, they get hammered. They got destroyed by the Cleveland Browns on Sunday. They got destroyed. Don't care what the final score says with the Kansas City game. They were not even competitive in that game other than scoring late and getting back into these ball games. Let's not forget also, what was the score? 40-18 when they got a 50-yard touchdown with 30 seconds left to play versus the Cleveland Browns. They're at home. They're getting points at Pittsburgh Steelers. I think it's going to be a close-fought game. And the problem with the Ravens is not the offense. The defense stinks. So if you're going to give me 3.5 at home, Jimmy, early in the week, I'm looking towards Pittsburgh here with you. I agree.
I like it. I think I'm going to take it. What do you think about this total? It's gone up a little bit, and I think this is going to be a grind them down type of divisional rivalry football game. I'd like the under. What would you do if you got a free play on the total?
It's jumped up, and I actually agree with the over a little bit here, because now we're taking a look at Lamar Jackson's offense. It's not prolific passing at this point right now. Hey, you may look at the Miami Dolphins. He's going to throw touchdowns every week, or the Kansas City game. But he extends drives, extends third downs. There are big plays to be made. And again, if we're going to take a look at the Steelers' offense, if they get just a little bit more aggressive in their game plan versus the Baltimore Ravens, the Ravens have got absolutely destroyed on defense just about through all 4 of the games when you look at it outside of the Miami game. 42 is a pretty low number in this one. I think it might be able to get over that number.
Don Ricci says, I see points being scored here. Whale Capper says, Jackson will hang a number on the Steelers suspect D. They can be schemed against, and Baltimore has the goods. Well, that scares me a bit. But I went up against Whale Capper last night with the Steelers, and I'll do it again. On the wings of a Warren Moon jersey, I will fight. Ravens, Steelers. I like the Steelers plus 3.5. Don't forget, there's still time to join our $50,000 pick six contest. $50,000 pick six contest. Even if you're not in, you can jump in right now. And $1,600 we give out each and every week. Join Donnie, RightSide, Well Capper, myself, and all these great cappers in the chat in our $50,000 contest. We are also making a new promo this week. We are giving out 6 $25 Amazon cards, 6 of them. All you have to do is tweet out a picture of your Pick 6 picks. Then watch our live Pick 6 show, which is moved to Thursday nights. And if I call your name out and you are watching the show, then you decide who you want to go up against. Myself, Big Boss, or Big Ragu. And if you beat whoever you choose, you get a $25 gift card. And we're giving out 6. Ravens, Steelers. I like the Steelers plus the points here. So does Alex Ramirez. I'm backing it. I'm just not sure if it's going to be my 2-unit play, but I like it. Let's move on to Bears, Raiders. Donnie, RightSide. Here we go. Spreads and totals. Sportsbookreview.com, SBR odds page. Bears, Raiders. Bears opened up at -4.5. They're now -5 at Pinnacle. They're still 4.5s on the board. This total opened up at 41.5 and is now at 40.5. Donnie cashed with the Bears last week. Has a great read on this team. But we crossed the pond to England. Chase Daniel, to me, is as good as Trubisky. I think Trubisky is bad. It doesn't concern me if I was backing the Bears that Chase Daniel is behind center. This offense is just bad. Their defense has not taken a step back. They are incredible. The Raiders lose Vontaze Burfict for the year. That hurts, asshole or not. He's a hell of a football player. Josh Jacobs needs a day. I'm interested in the under. Donnie, RightSide, Bears, Raiders.
Yeah, look, you go from one slippery, horrible surface that they have each and every year in Chicago to another slippery, horrible surface that they seemingly have every single year in London. Doesn't matter if it rains or if it's sunny or if it's 80 degrees. It's an ice skating rink out there. Now, what you saw last week, the Minnesota Vikings on an ice skating rink against an elite defense, they couldn't move the football at all. So there's going to be a lot more of this. I was very impressed last week, Jimmy, with the Raiders' effort and performance in Indianapolis. But when you take this game down to its common element here, it's kind of funny. Imagine betting on a football game and you bet the Bears. Like I had them in the Pick 6 contest last week, and I'm saying, no, this line is slipping. It's 2.5, it's 2, it's 1.5, it's 1 at game day. Roquan Smith is out. And all of a sudden, the first drive of the game, Mitchell Trubisky fumbles the football and gets a sprained shoulder. And I'm sitting back in my chair going, yes, we lost our starting quarterback. That's such good news. That is an amazing thing to be up against. But now, Chase Daniel, look, he came in, he managed the game, he was fine. Is he an upgrade from Mitchell Trubisky? I mean, technically, no, because at least Trubisky can run around a little bit. But you just need a game manager in these situations. But however, this is going to be over in London. I think the defense is going to be able to take over the Chicago Bears, but it still gets back to that same adage with me. Unless I'm getting less than a field goal with the Bears because of their subpar quarterback play, it's hard for me to invest in them, Jimmy.
Very hard. Very hard to trust him and invest in him, although you succeeded with that last week. What do you think about this total? Should we make a move on the under?
And you know what? I mean, I think Oakland's going to be able to move they're not going. I don't think the Chicago Bears are going to throw a shutout in this football game. So we tend to think that the Oakland Raiders will have some success at least getting the teens. The only problem is, Jimmy, when you flip it on the opposite, what is our expectations of the Bears offense right now? 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Don't turn it over. Lean on the defense. I haven't seen a single thing out of the Chicago Bears that lets me know we're going to push the football down the field. We're going to look to get after it. It's more of Chase Daniels in the game. Let's control the game. Let's go methodical drives. Let's see if we can get field goals. I still would lean on the under. I honestly would. I just can't trust the Bears on offense.
Robert Weimer says another under London game here. Bears cover maybe. But the under is my play. Tom Marino says Chase Daniels doesn't have the mobility or arm strength of Trubisky. Trubisky is bad, but better than Daniels. I'd lean Oakland and the under. Clint Richardson, Raiders matched up well versus Indy. Not so much versus Bears. Nick O says, do we expect Raiders to repeat on the road again? No way. Chase Daniels is better for the Bears. AM says Bears all the way. Don Reed says Chase Daniels has been in this offense for 6 years. He knows it as good as Nagy. Don Reed says, I like the Bears because the backup knows the offense. I want to make a move on this under. I'm taking the question mark away from that. All right, let's move on to Cardinals Bengals. Now, of course, these biases exist. Recency, vividness, there's stuff that we have to fight against when we're handicapping. And you've already seen me say I like the Steelers at home against the Ravens with the 3.5 points. Well, I think Cincinnati is a bad football team. They have trouble scoring. I think the Cardinals can go into Cincinnati and possibly cover. Do I want to back the Cardinals on the road? No, I don't. But the Cardinals went into Baltimore and didn't perform that badly. Cincinnati opens up at -4. Now 3.5s and 3s on the board. This total opened up at 48. Now 47.5. Kingsbury's air raid offense is not being unique or impressive. This should be an ugly, low-scoring game. Patrick Peterson still out. 6-week suspension for PEDs. Kyler Murray, 22 of 32, 241 yards and a pick. 4 carries for 27 yards last week against Seahawks. He has no O-line to protect him. David Johnson is doing a nice job catching out of the backfield, but he's bad running the ball. 11 carries for 40 yards last week. The week before that, 11 carries for 37 yards. Chandler Jones can bring pressure. Terrell Suggs against a bad O-line. I'm interested in the Cardinals. I'm interested in the under. Donnie, RightSide, Cardinals, Bengals.
Yeah, I mean, to start off, the Cardinals do stink, but then there is stink in the NFL, and then there's like the Miami Dolphins stink, which they're not that bad because look at the teams they played: the Detroit Lions, the Baltimore Ravens, Carolina Panthers, Seattle Seahawks. They've had 4 teams that have played them pretty tough. And also, when you take a look at coming in last night, it's hard to stay when you watch TV last night and you watch the football game on Monday night with the Bengals. Not a lot gives you a lot of effort because it looks like they can't block anybody. It's Mixon and nobody else. If Boyd disappears, where do they go with the football? But then having said that, when you look at the Arizona offense, now look, Seattle's pretty good at every level. An elite pass rush, unbelievable linebacking core, and a quality secondary. That's going to be tough to move the football on. But I find myself watching these Arizona Cardinal game, Jimmy's, and it looks like it's just straight up street ball. Honest to God, like a lower form of what the Seattle Seahawks do, where Russell Wilson runs around and makes a play. It's Kyler Murray running for his life every single play. And if he gets out of 3 or 4 guys trying to sack him, he's able to make some plays. And also keep in mind, Christian Kirk, late in that football game, I believe under a minute to go on that last drive, he hurt his ankle. If he's out, who the heck are they throwing to in this football game? We're going to be looking at this game, regardless of pass rush style and pass rush that can get home. Murray's going to get sacked 5 or 6 times just by default, by the way they play offense. And it gets down to the same point I make each and every week, Jimmy. We're talking about a football team. A head coach has never won in the NFL. A quarterback that has never won a football game in the NFL. Now we're asking him to go on the road, and if the line is 3, you're asking the Arizona Cardinals to win this football game. I don't trust them yet.
I don't trust him either, but I just feel like this is too high. Eric Jones doesn't. He likes the over here, but I feel like this is too high a total, and I felt like the Redskins-Giants total was too high, and I didn't pull the trigger there. I feel like this is too high at 47.5, Donnie. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, look, they could put up some points because Arizona's always the default mode. They're going to go really fast. But hey, Jimmy, they went really fast last week. Couldn't do anything on offense. Now, when you look at this game plan, if you're Cincinnati, you're 0-4 at this point. And same thing, obviously, coming in with Arizona. This is the time where it's not like, hey, let's just open it up and see what happens. Both of these teams are looking at this football game like, guys, we can win this football game. Let's play smart. Let's not turn it over. Let's, 3 and out. Let's get a good punt, and we'll play some good defense and not leave a short field. This game has the tendency to me to play towards an under because both teams suck.
Yeah, both teams are very bad. All right, I'm not sure if I want to even be involved in this game, to be honest with you, but those were my leans, Cardinals and the under. Let's move on to Jaguars at Panthers. I'm interested in the Jaguars. I'm interested in the under. Kyle Allen's made this team competitive again, but I think we're getting value at this number with the Jags on the road plus 3.5. 3.5 across the board, open at 3. The total is at 41. I like the under. Both new quarterbacks have injected life into their teams. Minshew has that swagger, but these QBs don't put up a ton of points. Allen protects the ball, makes the plays he's supposed to. This Jaguars defense is so good. Now, I need to know what's going on with Jalen Ramsey. If Jalen Ramsey is sorted out and he's going to be on the field, I'll take the Jags on the under. I'm not going to do it without him, even though they just won without him. He completely eliminates one side of the field. We talk about should the Bengals be minus 3.5 point favorites against anybody. I think that same sentiment can be said about these Carolina Panthers. Donnie, RightSide, Jaguars, Panthers.
Carolina's defense has been great. But outside of that, let's just take a look at their offense. Kyle Allen. Look, it's impressive what they're doing. They're winning with a younger quarterback. Yeah, they slashed up Arizona, which most teams are tend to do. But last week, that was a very good fortitude win last week. And you got to give credit where credit is due. They basically said, all right, I'm not really a big fan of Ron Rivera, but I think Bill O'Brien is one of those low five. If there's 30 coaches in the NFL, he's in that bottom five with ease. And they had the game in their hands in the first half, and they throw a reverse pass to DeAndre Hopkins out of nowhere that gets intercepted. And that drive leads to a touchdown, and the Texans could never recover. But kudos to Carolina for knowing that and just playing the game out the way it's supposed to be done. Now, look, this has the same feel to me where I look at this football game, two really good defenses, two young quarterbacks. Either way, who's going to win this football game, Jimmy? It's probably going to be a close game. So early indications for me, looking probably to build a case and try to take Jacksonville. I was really impressed with Jacksonville. I mean, they were getting destroyed in the first half, and you need some breaks to go your way. And, of course, there's Joe Flacco, a simple pitch and catch that probably would have led to another field goal to make it 20-3 at the half, and that team probably would have quit. But that interception where he overthrew his guy by 5 yards leads to a field goal. They were awesome in the second half. Minshew made plays when he had to, as a credit to him. But also, you're right, Jimmy. Let's take a look last week with that defense that did play well versus the Denver Broncos without what I think is the best defensive football player in football. If Jalen Ramsey is all in this week, I think it's going to be a lower scoring game, and why not lean on the points at that point?
So you have read stuff that gives you confidence that Ramsey will be in the lineup?
No, that's what I don't know. I want to see how it plays out, because when you have an angered player, let's get something straight here. Jalen Ramsey wasn't sick last week. Jalen Ramsey didn't have a hamstring injury, and Jalen Ramsey's back was fine. He's just playing the point and saying, you guys got to get, I'm being a nice guy here. I won't cause any waves, but I want to be traded. Let's see what happens this week, because the guy that's totally checked out, he might start those shenanigans again. And it's not like just saying hey, you're starting quarterbacks. No, the single best cornerback in football is not going to play. When he's on the field, he transforms that whole defense. So now you're taking a look at Kyle Allen, who, has his struggles here and there. And if you get the pass rush to him, he's going to get strip sack fumbled like he's had a few times this year. If Jalen Ramsey is healthy, engaged, and playing in this football game, that's such a huge bonus. But we don't know if he is.
We don't. And that's a big problem. That's a big problem. Yeah. But if I get word that he's in, I'm going to take the Jaguars and the under. Yeah. Robert Weimer says was off. Robert Weimer said was off the Blue Chew last week. This week, I'm back on the Blue Chew and the under. Get it now for the hook. Akira says, Jaguars playing back-to-back away games. I'm leaning towards Panthers -3.5. Tolmore says, Jacksonville has no reason to trade Ramsey right now. They can get as much for him in a couple weeks, and he might change his mind. Speaking of which, Donnie, is it the Eagles? Is the Eagles the team that tried to trade 2 first-rounders for Jalen Ramsey?
Probably between the Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs, and whoever wins that race, which is probably going to get the guy. But if they're saying more than 2s, I don't agree with the 2. People say, fans, just do the deal. 2 first-round picks is too steep, and I'm of the adage that says Jalen Ramsey will create an issue in Jacksonville. Don't trade 2 first-rounders. That'll turn into 1 first-rounder and probably in a 3rd-rounder. And if he goes on social media, they might even cut him after 3 weeks. You can get him for free.
Wow, yeah, that's wild stuff. Robbie Tops in the house. We got Muhammad Joma, Steve Priest joining us as well. Let's keep rolling, and we will move to the Vikings at Giants. Minnesota, New York. Minnesota opening up at -5, now -5.5. This total opened up at 44.5 and is now at 45. Kirk Cousins has been so bad. So bad. This is such a good football team, and then you have a quarterback playing terribly. 27-36. 233 yards last week against Chicago. 6 sacks on 51 yards on 6 sacks, 2 fumbles, 1 resulted in a turnover. The week before, in their win over the Raiders, 15 of 21 for 174 yards. He's playing terrible. So we have one team here in the Giants that's trending up because they believe in their quarterback, and we have one team struggling because they don't believe in their quarterback. The Giants do believe in Daniel Jones. I lean towards the Giants +5.5, but I don't think that I wanted any part. I don't think I'll actually make it to the window unless I hear this is a spot that you like as well. Donnie, Vikings, Giants.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things where we always talk like stock tips and stuff, buy low, sell high. The Giants aren't going to be any higher than they are at this point right now. Oh, Danny Dimes and, this and that and the other. They beat Tampa. They were getting railroaded by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the half. Had a nice comeback in the second half. Jameis Winston stinks in that football game. They end up losing. But, hey, credit Danny Dimes. It was a nice offensive effort with, Saquon Barkley going down. Last week, I can't take anything out of the game last week because I even the pick six contest early in the week said, I'm going to go Washington +3 in this game. Offensive line should be able to hold up. You can run the football. And then by the end of the week, nobody was playing for the Washington Redskins, and they completely imploded. So now we don't even know who's going to be at quarterback for the Redskins coming forward. But besides that, taking a look at the Giants team right now, they're as high and cresting as they're going to get at this point. Last week was the perfect storm for the Minnesota Vikings. They got embarrassed. They played on a wet, terrible surface. Kirk Cousins, maybe he's not the quarterback. This is the perfect tonic and elixir to get that Minnesota offense back on track against a horrific Giants defense that lost 2 more linebackers last week playing against the Washington Redskins. Perfect time to buy low on the Vikings. They should win by 7 or more this weekend.
All right, I will stay away from the Giants, but I just don't believe in Kirk Cousins at all. But we've had Torino talk about how Cousins eats against bad teams, loses against good teams. Let's talk about those Redskins right now because they're at home to the New England Patriots. Patriots open up at -14, now -15s, a couple of 15.5s, actually a few. Bet365, U-Wager, Intertops, and Bookmaker all at 15.5. This total opened up at 45.5 and is now at 43.5. I'm interested in this under, but the Patriots could roll up the score and create a situation where the under doesn't hit. But I do not see the Redskins getting 15 points here. So then you have to ask yourself, are the Patriots going to go for 30 plus? Gruden has confidence in Colt McCoy and will consider starting him against the Patriots in week 5. Case Keenum looked bad in week 4. They bring in Haskins. He looked awful. Skins have no O-line. Pats got exposed a bit last week. Did the Bills provide a blueprint on how to stop them? We've seen this Patriots team that doesn't have a tight end package. Ben Watson does not look good. Patriots defense has been spectacular. Their offense has been underwhelming. Donnie, RightSide, Patriots, Redskins.
Yeah, I can't be anywhere near the Redskins. I'm sorry. I mean, we don't know who's going to be a quarterback, who's playing with confidence. And then again, you got to check the reports later in the week because you're going to be down 2 offensive linemen again, your best wide receiver, and rely on 90-year-old Adrian Peterson. They're not going to score more than 10 points. And it'll be one of those games that we like to call the slow burn like they had against the Jets. Didn't end up covering against the Jets, but it's one of those where it's 7-0, it's 10-0, it's 17-0. When you get behind the 8 ball against this outrageous defense right now for the New England Patriots, it only gets harder. So it's not like I don't think there's any time in this ball game that the Redskins, Jim, you're going to keep it close so you can run it and get in the 3rd and 1s. This sounds like one of those games where if they take a 14-0 lead for the New England Patriots, like I believe they will, you then have to open up your playbook, and you have no playmakers whatsoever on the Washington Redskins. You saw it last week. I mean, the Giants are horrific on defense. They could barely even manufacture a forward pass in that football game. They put Dwayne Haskins out there. He was embarrassing. Case Keenum was embarrassing. The entire team was embarrassing. They're looking to fire their head coach. This just sounds like one of those games, Jimmy, you can stack up like a 31-13 final with New England winning this one.
Yeah, I agree with that breakdown. And I still lean towards this under. How do you feel about the total?
Yeah, I would the same way. Like, what gives like the Giants held Washington to 3 points. The Giants are a bottom feeder defense. You're getting one of the top. Like, I think the Bears are the best defense in the NFL, but right behind them is New England. And if there's anything, like, look at what New England's doing at 3 points, 0, 14, 10. So let's just say their worst performance of the year was against the Jets, where they gave up 14. Wait a second. They didn't even give up an offensive touchdown in that ball game. Oh my, this could get ugly.
This could get ugly. Muhammad Joe is saying Brady coming off a bad game. He will want to roll it up. Let's move on to Jets at Eagles. Here's another under that I'm interested in. Jets, Eagles. Eagles open up a -14. They're now -13. There are 13.5s on the board. This total opened up at 44.5, is now at 43.5. Darnold had targeted week 5 for his return, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. We will see this week, but I suspect we're going to see Luke Falk for another week. These Eagles have no cornerbacks, Donnie. Darby, Jones, Maddox, all hurt. They found their running game, but this is a huge spread for an inconsistent football team. Jets coming off of a bye. Donnie, RightSide, how are you handling Jets, Eagles?
Normally, like if this was, let's just say, a semi-healthy Eagles football team, let's just say they had Jalen Mills at cornerback, they had Ron Darby healthy at cornerback, or Sidney Jones healthy at cornerback, the Eagles would take apart this Jets team, not because they're the better football team, but if you see anything, like with Sam Darnold, first game, 68 yards on the ground, 155 in the air. Without Darnold, 93 on the ground, 169 in the air. And then versus New England, 36 yards on the ground and 69 yards in the air. It's about scoring. So a lot of the times we also see these spreads that's 13.5, 14.5, like we saw in the Patriots game, 15.5. It sounds like so much, but then you look at the scores that these guys, like, can we see in this football game again? Same score, 31-13 Eagles. It sounds about right. So, well, wait a second, that's 18 points. That covers the line. 13-14 sounds like ridiculous numbers that you can't back in the NFL. But when you see the final scores, they make sense. Last week, New England Patriots, 30-14 over the Jets. The Jets didn't even score an offensive point. So if the Jets aren't going to get more than 2 touchdowns in this game, they're going to get buried. The Eagles aren't going to score 21 against the Jets. The offense is healthy and humming again. Seems to me, again, like one of those, Jimmy, where we take a look at 31-10, 31-14 in that range where the Eagles win and cover.
Yeah, Eagles win and cover makes sense, but I just find it tough to trust this team. What's going on at cornerback for you guys? And tell us a little bit.
There's struggling. I mean, the Orlando Scandrick comes back. And again, the stuff that you have to cover spreads with, the Eagles technically don't have. You want a nasty pass rush. The Eagles can barely get to the quarterback. You want cover cornerbacks to say, you know what? Your quarterback is so bad that we're going to jump routes and intercept them because we have elite play, which they don't have. So you're sort of leaning on saying, what I've seen out of the Jets, they are horrific no matter the defense they play. And the Eagles catching a little bit of a break and then some extra time off with Green Bay, getting healthy again on offense. They should be able to be in the 30s. But I understand why you have a little bit of trepidation because they don't have the components on defense where you can just take apart a football team where it's a 14-point game. It's a 17-point game in the fourth quarter when the defensive line pins its ears back and crushes the quarterback that stinks like Luke Falk. They technically don't have that, Jimmy.
And can you tell me a little bit more about the trade you guys made this week? Because I didn't fully understand it. When you have all these problems in your secondary, why you would trade a safety?
Well, what they're looking at doing is obviously they're working the wires, not just going to give up 2 or 1 or maybe even get Harris out of Denver. The only reason why they picked up a linebacker, they cut L.J. Fort the week before, and they needed another linebacker this week. Now that they're getting a little bit healthier on defense with cornerbacks, they need to replace that guy on special teams. That's the only reason why they made that move. But they did make the move where they had Orlando Scandrick, the former Dallas Cowboys cornerback, who knows the system. They brought him back this week. There's still another move in the works, but they're trying to shake the tree to see where some of these teams are going to give up their players without saying, hey, 2 first-rounders, and or else we don't have a deal.
Interesting stuff. I still kind of like the under here, but you're right. This Eagles offense is rolling right now. Let's move on to Bucks Saints. Saints open up at -4.5. Quickly go to 3. There are 2 3.5s in Intertops and at Heritage. Just total open at 47.5. There are 47s on the board. Pinnacle still has it at 47.5. This is a game that I want to stay away from. I'm very uncomfortable with it. It looks like Arians may save Winston's career. Saints defense looked very good against the Cowboys, but the Buccaneers wide receivers are so dangerous, and the Cowboys didn't have Gallup in the lineup, and they just didn't look nearly as dangerous as these Bucks will look with Evans and Godwin. Kamara is the Saints offense, and Cowboys linebackers shut them down. Cowboys linebackers have a lot of speed. The Bucks need Devin White badly here. He missed the last 2 weeks with a sprained knee. Will he be back? And with that knee injury, if he is back, will he have the speed to contain Kamara, who's spectacular? Donnie, RightSide, Buccaneers, Saints.
It's interesting that you bring this up. Like, never would I thought that I was saying, you know what, Tampa Bay, they showed me a lot last week. You went out and played a team with a high-octane offense in the Rams and a pretty good defensive front, and you put up 55 points. I know they got some defensive touchdowns, but 55 points is still 55 points. Whenever you're a team that's going to be laying points, like we like to take a look at New Orleans, outside of Alvin Kamara, look, Michael Thomas is a great wide receiver, but great wide receivers need great quarterbacks in order to be great. Michael Thomas is a pretty good football player without Drew Brees, but with Drew Brees, that turns him into that megastar. The only one that you always have to watch out is Alvin Kamara can destroy this Tampa Bay defense, but the same thing can be said on the opposite side. Look at the offensive weapons that Tampa Bay has. As long as Jameis Winston doesn't lose his head, they should be in the game just by default. When we take a look at the offense outside of that first week where they went up and down the field on the Houston Texans with Drew Brees, they were terrible against the Rams. Teddy Bridgewater was horrific. Then you play Seattle. Teddy Bridgewater, trash again. Then you play the Dallas Cowboys. Teddy Bridgewater, trash again. If I can't get a high-octane performance out of my quarterback, I'm always going to lean the points on the opposite side when that team can actually score points.
Tom Marino says Winston is a bad quarterback who had one good game. I think he reverts back here. I think that Arians can turn him around. I think Arians can save his career. What do you think about that idea, Donnie, that Arians is so good with quarterbacks that he can turn Winston into a beast?
I mean, Winston's a great boomer bust quarterback. I think there's more bad than good in Jameis Winston, but you ride the hot hand, but also you're not asking, like Jameis Winston engaged in a shootout last week. almost blew it by throwing the interception at the end of the game. And then always the telling tale is when it's 3rd and goal, when a touchdown puts the game away, you throw a slip screen because you don't want your quarterback to make the mistake, so you end up kicking the field goal. But it just gets back to this game to me, Jimmy, the offense of the New Orleans Saints. Do they have 20 points in their back pocket in this football game on offense? It's Tampa Bay. They should, but I'm not so sure. They're a slow, plodding offense now with Teddy at quarterback.
They are, and I'm very uncomfortable with this game and not going to make a move at this point on it. Let's go into a couple, 4 straight games that I want to make moves on. And we're going to start with Falcons-Texans. Texans open up at -5. That's where they stand. This total opened up at 49. It's still at 49 in Pinnacle, but 48.5s are on the board. Falcons are in a tailspin. I'm ready to expect to lose all of my future bets on them. Houston did not look good last week, but I think they could blow this Falcons team out. Atlanta's defense has been bad. The Keanu Neal injury hurt badly. What's wrong with the Falcons offense, Donnie? I just don't get it. Freeman rushed 12 times for 28 yards. I mean, yeah, he's receiving out of the backfield, but 12 for 28. They are playing horrible. And their team on paper should be lighting it up. I don't know. I was on the over in the Falcons-Titans game. And when the Titans got out to that early lead, I'm like, oh, this is going to cash. 3 points in the second half is what I got. I just couldn't believe it. I'm interested in the Texans, and I'm interested in the Texans team total over. It is at 27.5 in my book, which is pretty high. Donnie, right side, Falcons-Texans.
You know, it's funny. Like sometimes teams fit adages for us, right? Like when we take a look at the Houston Texans, when they play the role of the underdog, they go out and play the Chargers. They play well. They win the football game. Then you put them in the role of they need to win by more than a touchdown, and you just see street ball out there. Deshaun Watson getting murdered every other play. It doesn't matter if he has 5 seconds or 1 second. He holds the football completely wrong. And then you have a coach like Bill O'Brien who throws a double screen or a double reverse pass that gets intercepted when you just need points against a team that's struggling to score on the opposite side. And then when you need your timeouts when you're down in the fourth quarter and a great catch is made, it's clear, everybody at home can see that Christian McCaffrey caught the football. You only have 2 timeouts left, and you burn one by challenging a play, which ends up being a first down anyway with 10 minutes to go, which instead of having the football with over a minute that you got it back down 6 late in the game, you got the ball with 28 seconds left. So when you have poor coaching decisions and you're asked to cover numbers, as much as I hate the Falcons, and I bet the Titans myself +4 this weekend, which was so much fun to watch for me, and I was like, oh man, this soft Atlanta team. Now I find myself building a path for the Atlanta Falcons to keep this game close just because the buffoon Bill O'Brien won't allow Houston to be great in the favorite role.
That boy called said, I said it Sunday and I'll say it again, not betting Falcons again this season. Defense is garbage. Then again, Houston should not be laying more than 3 points to anyone. DT Doug says Matt Ryan has lost arm strength. And Mama Jones says take the under in the Texans-Falcons game. Robert Weimer says looking to the under with the high output Falcons coming up short. Torino says I'd lean over. Both teams have bad defenses. I actually think I don't want to. I think the Falcons are in a tailspin. Do you think that Dan Quinn loses his job and the Falcons don't win 5 games this year? Could it come to that, Donnie?
It's crazy because you figure when Drew Brees went down, what are we all saying? Oh, my God, look at this. Easy path for the Atlanta Falcons, and they seem like they can't get out of their own way. And again, their one win of the season came against a team that basically said, we don't have anybody to play in this football game. We all got hurt before the game. That's the only one they won, and they should have lost that ball game. And I'm still trying to find a way to back them just because of my bias towards the Houston Texans are way more talented than the Atlanta team. They have better pieces on defense. They should win this game comfortably. And then I see Deshaun Watson running around for 10 seconds, getting strip sack fumbled, and the head football coach, which never makes the right decision. If they're getting 5, like, hey, you know what? I'm tuned in right here on the Texans. If they have to win the game by a touchdown or more, I don't want anything to do with the Texans, Jimmy.
Okay. Well, that really sort of dampens my feeling that this Falcons team was falling apart and I should take the Texans. So I'm going to pause on that. Here's a spot that I do like, and we're going to have to wait and see what goes on with Josh Allen, but I expect Josh Allen not to play. Bills, Titans. Titans open up at -2.5. They're now at -3 or -2.5. This total is at 38.5, 39 at Heritage, 38.5 everywhere else. You know, I don't even care if it's Matt Barkley. This Bills defense is so good. And I don't think, if I already have a feeling, because next week is a bye week for the Bills, that they're not going to rush Allen back from this concussion. But even with Barkley playing for the Bills, to me, that doesn't mean the Titans roll over this football team. This Bills defense is very good, and I don't trust Mariota to string together good games. A.J. Brown is a beast, but I don't trust this Titans offense. I want the under regardless of Allen or Barkley and it being so low at 38.5. I want the under in this game. Donnie, RightSide, Bills, Titans.
Yeah, I think you're right on the under in this one because the reason, and if the Buffalo Bills had a healthy Josh Allen in this football game, or let's say we're getting 3 or getting even the 2.5, they would be really live. They're a tough football team, almost a similar style to what Tennessee has. Now, Tennessee has a little bit more weapons. I think we can agree that what the Buffalo Bills have, but the Bills are tenacious. They're tough. They're playing defense. They had every chance to beat the New England Patriots, but just couldn't cash in. But the only problem is, and we said it late, look, this has been the same moniker as me. Josh Allen is a great quarterback when he's healthy and going to start the football game because he runs, and that's built into a lot of their offense. Now you have the old guy with the weak arm, Matt Barkley. I don't see where the offense is going to come from the Bills. So looking at a total perspective, that's fantastic. But now you're asking the Bills to go on the road with Matt Barkley and beat the Tennessee Titans. I can't see it. Josh Allen, they would have a puncher's chance, and I believe I would probably even back them if Josh Allen was healthy in this football game. I can't back him on the road with Matt Barkley. I like what Tennessee's doing. I think they can play strong enough defense to slow that Buffalo offense, which doesn't have much down. And I like the weapons that are emerging now at wide receiver for the Tennessee Titans. And Marcus Mariota's playing really good football to start the season overall. If it stays the way it does and Matt Barkley starting, I'm probably going to be on the Texans here. Or excuse me, Titans. I apologize.
Titans, yeah, Titans. Interesting. I'm going to stick with this under, and I think I'm going to pull the trigger pretty soon. Let's move on to another spot where I see a team spiraling towards their imminent death, and that's the Denver Broncos. Broncos at Chargers. Chargers open at 6.5. There is a 6 now at Pinnacle. The Denver Chargers total opened at 44. There's now 44.5 on the board. I want to back the Chargers here, and I know it's not a comfort when you look at this offense and how banged up the Chargers are and then expect them to cover over a touchdown. Mike Williams, Travis Benjamin, Dontrell Inman all hurt, but Keenan Allen is good to go. And maybe that's all they need. Their tight ends are all beaten up. Hunter Henry out, Virgil Green out, Sean Culkin on IR. But we've seen what Rivers does when Hunter Henry's out. He just doesn't even look for tight. He doesn't even look towards the tight ends at all. So I think that he's the kind of quarterback that can handle this beat up offense, but Keenan Allen good to go. The loss of Chubb for the Broncos is huge. Their defense was underwhelming before his injury. Is Von Miller even trying? I don't even know what's going on with Von Miller. It feels like he's setting himself up to get traded at the deadline. Flacco's terrible. Is this Flacco's last start? I think that they got to go to their first round pick here. Flacco just shouldn't be. If the Broncos are going to lose out, I don't know why Fangio is going to do it with Flacco under center. Chargers are starting to get their groove. They're going to get better and better. Melvin Gordon on track to return to a starter's workload in Week 5. I want to back the Chargers here at home. Donnie, RightSide, is this too many points?
I think it's a little bit too many points. And I know the Denver Broncos aren't playing really good football, but you have to take a look at what the Chargers have done on the season as a whole and try to play it. Because, again, we're not just talking about, hey, can the Chargers win the foot? Sure, they can. They're at home. They're technically the better football team. But looking at what they've done, they went to overtime against Indianapolis. So basically it was a tie game after 4 quarters. Against the Detroit Lions, they lost 13-10. Against Houston at home, they lost 27-20. And, oh, yeah, they beat the Miami Dolphins, which everybody squashes by like 30 points. So I take absolutely nothing out of that. And you lost Melvin Ingram in that football game, which is a huge pass rusher to combo that front 7 that they have. Now, I'm not saying Denver's anything good. The Chubb injury is absolutely disastrous. I thought Von Miller woke up a little bit last week, had a strip sack fumble. It did some nice things out there. The one thing I have to look at is, are we getting any help yet back from this Denver secondary? Is Kareem Jackson going to come back? Is, Bryce Callahan going to come back? Because that's going to play a big role. Do I think the Chargers are better, good enough to win this football game? Absolutely. But just taking a look at overall on their season, they're not the type of team to win. Unless, again, the Miami Dolphins are almost in another, quadrant of the NFL. You can almost take their games and throw them out like in football where Alabama plays like an FCS program. They're that bad, and you're going to run up some ugly numbers versus them. I don't know if I trust the Chargers yet to win football games by 7 points until I see it against a quality opponent, or at least a decent level opponent. I'll probably side with the Denver Broncos. Will I be betting this game? Absolutely not, because when you're 0-4 you can almost hear the trombones and you almost hear taps being played in the background at this point for Denver. We're like, hey, you know what? Maybe we could trade Chris Harris and get some, something for him, or trade somebody else or make a move toward the future. I hear that's a tough one to take. I'll be staying away, but I don't trust the Chargers winning by a touchdown just yet.
And neither does the chat. Clint Richardson, Denver plus points. Steve, Denver plus points. DT Doug says Chargers have no home. They play 16 road games. And Robert Weimer says Denver wins outright in this one. They've been in all their games this year. At 0-4, the desperation is set in so deep that they cover against another ugly Chargers game. Justin Grimes says Chargers don't get a couple wins here to keep pace with KC. The division might be wrapped up in coming weeks. I agree with that. Chargers need to win this game. Well, I put a question mark beside the Chargers. I put a question mark beside the Texans, but I still like that Bills-Titans under. Here's another look I like, and it's another under. Packers-Cowboys. Packers-Cowboys. This total opened up at 47, and it's moving down fast. Wow. When did it get to 45.5? An hour ago. Oh, God. It moved down 1.5 an hour ago. Oh, man, I don't like that. I got to get on this. I like the under here. Donnie, right side. Two strong defenses. Cowboys offense really got exposed against the Saints. Packers defense has been good as well. Look at who the Cowboys beat up on. They beat up on the Giants. They beat up on the Redskins. They beat up on the Dolphins. And they could only muster up 10 points against the Saints because Dak is not that good. Can he put up points against good teams? Green Bay's offense has been underwhelming. Now they have the Devontae Adams toe injury. So I just feel like if this is Valdez-Scantling, who's been good, Geronimo Allison and Jimmy Graham, I like the under. I like the under in Packers, Cowboys. If you're talking about a side in this spot, Cowboys open at -3.5, and that's where they stay. I like the under, Donnie, and it looks like it's moving fast towards it. What do you think here, Packers, Cowboys?
No, I agree with you on that. I think it's a pretty good look. I think the game plan for the Dallas Cowboys is let's just line up and smash the football right down Green Bay's throat and keep Aaron Rodgers off the field, which lends you to believe that they're going to pay, sort of attention to that. You have a good secondary for the Green Bay Packers, so that should be the game plan for Dallas coming in. Now, here's the one problem. If we're taking a look, and I don't necessarily agree with the line move up to a certain point where the Green Bay Packers are getting some love right now, because if you watch the games that Green Bay plays, honest to God, they have one off. I mean, look, you have Aaron Rodgers, probably the top 3 quarterback of all time. Who wouldn't want him starting a football game for you? Everybody would want that. He has one wide receiver. That wide receiver is going to miss this football game. You're going against an elite defense that can absolutely control the running game with their front seven, and they have a very good secondary. Nobody at wide receiver, nobody that can scare you at running back, a banged-up offensive line. So, okay, if Aaron Rodgers goes out and has a Herculean effort and goes 29 for 31 for 330 yards and they win the football game, I'll tip my cap. If this line gets to 3, well, I don't have to pay for it like -130. I'm all over the Dallas Cowboys. I think they just out-physical this Green Bay team, and I don't know where the points are coming from Green Bay. When you take Devontae Adams out of the offense, it stinks.
I agree. I can't believe that dropped 1.5 at Pinnacle in the last hour. That's, got to make some moves on this card. Let's move on to the Colts Chiefs. There's a lot going on with the Colts and all their injuries, but there clearly is a recency bias against the Colts after that ugly loss to the Raiders at home. Injuries keep mounting for these Colts. No T.Y. Hilton last week. Marlon Mack rushes for 11 times for 39 yards and then leaves in the fourth quarter with an ankle injury. Darius Leonard, concussion, did not play against the Raiders. No Leonard, no Malik Hooker. Too many injuries to overlook. The Chiefs are now 11-point favorites. They opened at 9.5, now 11-point favorites at Pinnacle. And this total at 57, so high. Already seen 56.5s and 56s on the board. Donnie, right side, Colts, Chiefs.
Look, if I'm going to get T.Y. Hilton in this game and you're going to give me 11 points with the Colts, I'm taking them all day long. Hey, well, what about the playoffs last year where Kansas City really ran over the Colts? I understand all that. But when you take a look at the totality of the season, yes, we don't like them losing to the Oakland Raiders, but I can't get back to the way they play. And if you add their one weapon that can stretch the defense and open everything up, that's going to make a really big deal. And also Darius Leonard probably going to, or hopefully gets back this week after a couple weeks of having off with the concussion. You lose to the Chargers in overtime. You beat Tennessee in Tennessee. You beat the Falcons by 3 points. Then you lose to Oakland by a touchdown with outside of that pick six. Maybe they could have made it even a closer game. They're playing close football games. If T.Y. Hilton suits up, give me the double digits. They should be able to stay inside that number.
Colts, Chiefs, wow, taking the big points. God, this is a tricky game, and I need more information on who is going to be good to go. Torino says Colts offense with Hilton out has struggled. If he plays, I take the points. Colts were likely looking ahead, but Colts have too many injuries to bat. Raphael says Chiefs defense is no good. Give me 11 points all day. Robert Weimer says can't take the Chiefs at double digits and no defense here. Stay away game for me. Clint Richardson says Chiefs might be minus 13 at game time. Minus 13 at game time. And Macaroon99 says what Donnie said. Let's take a look at this Monday nighter. Browns-Niners, Donnie RightSide. Niners opening up at -3 at -119. They were there for 1 minute. For 1 minute, and then quickly was 3.5. This total opened up at 47.5 and is now at 46.5 or 46. So, yes, the Browns stomped the Ravens. And the Niners have injury issues with Staley hurt, and they would really need Staley against Myles Garrett. Now we have Witherspoon injury hurts as well. Emmanuel Mosley gets his chance and needs to step up, and this guy earned a spot on this roster. The Niners are a better football team than the Browns. And now you have Kyle Shanahan with an extra week to prepare for the Browns, and he's so much better than Kitchens. The Niners, Donnie, they just don't get respect. People are not talking enough about this Niners defense. They are second in yards allowed after week 3. After week 3, they were second in yards allowed, behind only the Patriots. Browns 21st in rush yards allowed. The Niners will run the ball down their throat. I want the Niners -3.5, and I want it quite badly, Donnie. What do you think here, Browns-Niners?
It's hard to go against because you know me, Jimmy. I'm a big proponent of rest and preparation is the ultimate elixir in the NFL where you get the upper hand. And let's not forget how much the Cleveland Browns put into the football game against the Baltimore Ravens. You had that game where they were embarrassed. Oh, my God, the season's going to be over against the Rams. Let's circle the wagons. Let's go on the road and put everything we have into this game. And by the way, they look damn good doing it. Got Chubb back into the running game. But now you have to go from Baltimore, fly back to Cleveland, fly all the way out to San Francisco. Should get a good atmosphere for San Francisco out there. But you know, if we're taking a look at this game and being honest, I mean, the Niners can do just about everything that the Cleveland Browns can do and a little bit better on offense, and they'll be more prepared and probably a little bit more healthy coming in. Now, the ultimate weapon would be hey, look how well this Cleveland defense is playing without their secondary. If Greedy Williams comes back, if Denzel Ward comes back, that's going to be a pretty big deal because when you have a high-octane offense that's moving the football at will, the best way to combat it is get a nasty pass rush, which the Cleveland Browns can get after the quarterback. It's a fascinating game. I know you're leaning towards San Francisco, which I would be because everything makes sense why you should be doing it. Buy low, sell high, one team lying in the weeds, one team with a huge division victory, now going outside the division and flying across country. It's crazy to say because I'm usually a big proponent of taking the San Francisco 49ers, Jimmy, over the total in football games. I see the 46.5. I actually think this game goes under.
Yeah, I think the Niners are just going to run the ball down the Cleveland Browns' throat nonstop. Clint Richardson says if the 49ers can hang on to the ball. That boy cold like in Browns' money line. Tom Marino says 49ers can take advantage of Browns' defensive injuries. Jackson isn't a good passer. TJ Park says, remarkable game. He says the bye week gives a big advantage. Raphael says 49ers cover easily. Also, Brown's second road game. Coaching alone is a huge mismatch. Macaroon99, Shanahan playing chess. Freddie spilling cheese whiz on his chest. There's Bleds W in the house. Same with Walla Walla Dos joining us. Torino says, I don't think Cleveland's defense is that strong right now with the injuries. They played Goff outside of LA and Jackson, two very mediocre quarterbacks. I'm going to make a move on the Niners and going to make a move on the Niners -3.5 in this spot. All right, looking back at this card, I still like the Steelers quite a bit. So moves that I want to make is the Steelers plus the points. And then the Bills-Titans under, the Packers-Cowboys under, and the Niners right now. I guess 6 plays sort of turned into 4, but we have the ability to cap, and then be joined by the whale capper on Friday. Donnie RightSide, looking back at this card, what are the spots that jump out to you the most?
Yeah, no, actually, I like Minnesota. Just want to see how it sort of plays out in the week. Maybe you can get a little bit because the 4.5s were popping their heads up, which I missed that one. So it's not like, hey, if it goes to 6, you better take it before it gets to 7. I think Minnesota's going to be able to win that game by a touchdown. But also the one we just went over, I really like the Cowboys, and it's one of those where, hey, if it settles at 3.5, I'll end up taking the 3.5 with the Cowboys. But if I get a 3, again, without paying, hey, I got 3 -1. It's not really getting 3 at -135 or -130. If it becomes a natural 3 or maybe a -115, I would be real interested in that. The same thing with Indianapolis. Wednesday practice report, Jimmy. Thursday practice report. By Friday, when we're back on the Audible, we'll have a really good read on T.Y. Hilton. If T.Y. Hilton is playing and that line is over double digits, I'm going to be keyed into that one as well. Some good spots early in the week. We'll just have to check as it goes during the week, and we'll have our minds made up by Friday this week.
We will, and I want to get ahead of some of these market moves. Already seen that Packers under drop 1.5 is scary. Speaking of totals, Donnie, the Ravens, Steelers, I'm leaning towards the under, but after Whale Capper gave me his final score 28-27, I believe that was in Ravens, Steelers. I'll have to go back and check, but that does make me uncomfortable. I like the Bears, Raiders under in England. I like the Cardinals, Bengals under, but I'm not going to make a move on it. And then Jaguars, Panthers under. So look, I'm going through my card and it's all these unders. Patriots, Redskins under. And I'm having a tough time with unders this year. Why am I all over them? Jets, Eagles under. I mean, why am I Bills, Titans under? I don't have an over. Packers, Cowboys under. I don't have an over on my card, Donnie. Do you think that?
You know what? No, I know. I'm going to interrupt you real quick.
Please
Maybe
do.
an over we're going to look at, and we'll keep in mind by Friday, is that Minnesota-New York Giants game. I think the Giants are going to be able to score points on Minnesota's defense. I think Minnesota's going to wake up in that game. So we actually didn't go over the total that much, but sitting at 44.5, I think that game goes over, Jimmy. That's one we can look at.
That is one we can look at. And yes, Whale Capper was the Thursday nighter was the 28-27. Yeah, I remember it right from the start of the show. It was the 28-27. So I at this point, this Thursday nighter, I'm going to stay back and just watch. That's what I did last week, and I would have been 2-0 had I made moves. But these Thursday nighters scare me, and I don't mind sitting off, and that's what I'm going to do. That boy Colt says, I have that same problem, bro. Shake my head, damn unders. Donnie, do you think that there's less scoring this season? Is there a reason why I'm looking at all these games and liking unders?
Yes, because it's shit quarterback play. Like, how many rookie quarterbacks and guys that have no business being in this league? You know, hey, well, we under True. You look at the guys like, Trubisky, a high draft pick, stinks. Kirk Cousins has stunk. All these rookies stepping up in the spots. Dwayne Haskins stinks. It's hard to get competent quarterback play or put up points when you're saying, like, boy, I wonder if this guy can even. Joe Flacco. I mean, you're getting quarterbacks that aren't necessarily gunslingers. That's why you're getting a little bit of hesitation out of you. That's all.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And then I'm sitting back at halftime in that Titans game, Titans-Falcons, and I'm like, oh, man, what do I need? 13 points for this over? I mean, this is good.
The Titans didn't even score, right, in the second half. I don't think the Titans scored in the second half.
They didn't score. It was a 3 points for the Falcons, 0 points for the Titans. So I'm just the totals have really hurt me so far this year, and I'm looking at these unders all through the field here. And oh man, okay. Well, there you have it. Our first look on a Tuesday, going up on a Tuesday, and we'll be back at 4 p.m. Eastern time on Friday alongside the Whale Capper. Muhammad Joma says everybody's playing slow, no pace. Remarkable Gaming says the defenses are playing good this year. Tormino says the holding calls are making a big difference, ending a lot of drives. Brandon Lugo says bad quarterbacks and lots of flags. Robert Weimer says several holding calls after every play makes the under the play on most games. I'm going to make some moves. I want to get ahead of some of these market moves, and I've already feel bad about that Packers Cowboys, but I do need to talk about it on the show with Donnie and with the chat before I feel confident enough to pull the trigger. And so I'm fine, I guess, if I'm going to be losing a couple points. Donnie RightSide, my man, any final words, final thoughts for the great cappers in the chat and the great cappers watching at home?
Yes, Pick Six contest, as you know, that's each and every week. I pick the 6 games here on the Audible. It goes right in the Pick Six contest. I need to pick up the pace here. I can't be going like 1-4s, 1-5s, or 0-1s like I did 2 weeks ago. I need more of the 5-1s like I had week 2, and hopefully we'll be able to turn that out this week. But it's fun. You come in, you get that game plan going. The chat box gets you fired up, and you say, oh my God, I'm ready to go. And you realize it's only Tuesday and all the work we have to do. Love coming on the show, as I say, every week on a Tuesday, setting up that game plan on Friday, have a better feel. Whale Capper comes in. We sort of get that triumvirate it. We sort of, bounce it off the chat box, see what makes sense, put those plays in. It's a lot of fun. It's the NFL. We're going to continue to have a lot of fun on sportsbookreview.com, especially right here on the Audible Friday. I'm already looking forward to it, Jimmy.
I'm looking forward to it very much. And I love this opportunity to do it on Tuesday and then hammer it again on Friday. Bleds W says, what do you think about Chiefs over, Jimmy? I think we just need more information from the injury report from the Colts before we can make an educated decision. This is always the week when I start rolling. I go from week 5 to week 11 on a run every year, and I expect it to start a week early because I went 5-3 last week and I need to roll into this. There's a lot of looks that I like on this card. I'm going to take a lot of time hammering it on my show and talking to other cappers about it. Thank you to all the great cappers in the chat. Tom Marino, Tomor, Randy Lockhart, Brandon Lugo, Alex Ramirez, Bleds W, Robert Weimer. Robert Weimer always ready to rock on these Tuesdays and Fridays. Robert Weimer means so much to us. Thank you. Remarkable Gaming, Steve, Dutch Boy, Fresh, Clint Richardson, Steve Priest, TJ Parks, Tom Marino, Tomor, Mohammed, Joma, Nick O, Brandon Lugo, Dat Boy, Cold. What a great group. Thank you for rolling with us. On behalf of myself and Donnie RightSide, can't wait to see you guys Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let's get after it. Have a big week of study and meet back here on Friday. Talk to you guys very, very soon.